Welcome back to Jack Howard Color, the podcast. Today, I've got a really great guest. Her name is Josie Vilayvanh. She's dialing in from Canada for me. So, Josie, first of all, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jack, for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Josie, you have a fantastic story, and I'd love to talk about that and your journey here on the podcast today. First of all, you're a mom of two. A newborn baby. You own a salon with 13 members of the team, which that's a lot of people. You're right in the middle of Canada. You're an internet sensation. In fact, your Instagram account is absolutely enormous. You've built that from scratch, going up to 350,000 people, followers. That's fascinating, that is. You're an award-winning colorist and a business owner. And how did all that happen? How did you get there?
Well, I want to thank, first of all, my parents for getting a divorce and really influencing me to get a job right away. So that's how that's kind of happened. It was my graduating year of high school and they decided to divorce. I didn't want to live with any of them. So my best friend and I decided to take cosmetology school so that we could go right into the work field and we thought make some money.
So in Canada, right? So in Canada, do you finish school at 18?
Yes. Yeah.
So you go to school all the way to 18, then you go to cosmetology school, which is hairdressing school.
Yes. Yeah. For another, I think 10 months.
10 months. And is it a similar setup to the American setup? You have to do the hours.
Yes. Yeah. Is it like that there?
So here in the UK, you can either go to college full time and get your MVQ, which is your hours, or you can do both, assist in the salon and get your MVQ at day release at college. So it's a little bit of a different setup.
Okay. Yeah. 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 We do our hours at school and then we accumulate more hours after school in the salon before we can get our red seal.
Okay. The red seal. Is that what it's called?
Yes. Yeah.
Very important. So you decided that you didn't want to live with either of your parents. You wanted to go out there and make some money, and you thought cosmetology school was the way forward. Had you always had an interest in hair, or was it? Spur of the moment? Always.
No, definitely. Yeah, my girlfriend she was into beauty, like makeup. I always did, like all my friends in high school always did their hair. Picked up box color at the drugstore and would do it during lunch. So I knew I had that background in me and I could do it. Yeah.
So brilliant. And what was it like at college for you? Did you enjoy it, or was it a struggle for you, or was it a blast?
It was a blast. I had so much fun. It's definitely being in the salon now with the right people and the right energy kind of makes you feel that way again, like you're back in school. It was a blast. I loved it.
Brilliant. And so once you finished college, doing your beauty school, finished beauty school, what then? How did it happen for you? What did you do?
Well, we got a job in the mall and we kind of just wanted to be on the floor right away and start doing clients. So we applied at the mall. I think it was called Regis at the time. And
that's a big company. It's a worldwide company, a big company.
Yeah. And being the go-getter that I am, during my interview, I decided to do a asymmetrical bob right out of hair school. Totally did not do a good job, but I think she just felt bad and hired me. She was like, the confidence is there, but the A-line isn't. But she probably thought it was something we could work on. So I'm glad she hired me.
And do you still know her? Are you still in the same city?
Yeah, we're still we're still in the same city. And she was such a great boss. She really taught me how to work fast and efficient and just know my numbers. You kind of learn different things from each mentor along the way. But after, I think I was there for 2 or 3 years, I decided that I wanted to do more competing because I love the competing aspect. I'm a big competitor, so I love the competing aspect of hair. So I knew I had to leave and find a salon that could mentor me in that direction that I wanted to go.
It's interesting that you said that your first boss taught you. So she taught you how to be on the floor, but she also taught you finance. And that's one of the things I think a lot of hairdressers struggle with, is that we're never really taught a lot about business side of it, or how to properly run our columns and how to make money. But yet you early on had someone showcase that to you.
Yeah, she was all about I guess because she had a quota to meet herself, right? So she was always on us about making our product sales and our quota so that, we'd get the commission that we wanted to take home.
But I think a lot of bosses can be on people, but for someone to come out of it and say, I understood it, and that you learned something from it, that's a great boss that shows you how to take it from there. So going from a huge corporation, which Regis is, of course, you went to a smaller salon that was doing more sort of events or avant-garde.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, you got it, Jack. Yep. So I went into my first competition, didn't have any mentoring, and then I guess a girl at a salon who they do like competition hair and stuff, she noticed me and she's like to her boss, like, hey, we should hire this girl. And then I went for my interview there. And from there on, I entered Contessa's, which is a prestige Canadian hairstyling award here.
That's massive.
I won my first one there. And that time I was pregnant. So I had to decide, like, okay, am I going to take a step back now and, be a mom and focus on that? And, at that time, my career kind of sucked. I was, at a salon where I didn't have a lot of clientele. My friends, were also in college, didn't want to come in and support me there because it was a high paying salon. And so I was like, okay, maybe now's the time to take a step back in my career. And my girlfriend, this was when Instagram was just getting huge. And my girlfriend, who happened to be my client, who was my last client before I went off on maternity leave, said, hey, Josie, I think you should hop on Instagram. It's a great opportunity, a great platform to start showing your work so that you can get more clients. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. I think I've decided I'm going to just take my year off, be a mom. But of course, I like to compete. So I posted a picture of her hair, and it was my first ombre I ever did. And it was like in pigtails. So when we took the pigtails out, it was like dip dye. It was not pretty, but the internet thought it was pretty. And from there on, I kind of had a bunch of girls messaging me, asking me to do their hair. And I was like, okay, well, I got to take this opportunity now. So we turned our front porch into a salon, like a little, just a chair and a mirror. And I started building clientele there, and had Rory, maybe took like 6 weeks off, and then went back into it, started posting on Instagram again. And that's how it all started.
Wow. Now, so in Canada, you get a year's maternity leave, which is the same as the UK. And a lot of my USA friends, they get sort of 6 weeks and they go straight back to work. So, and very rarely do you hear people want to enjoy their maternity time and all of that stuff. But you had suddenly posted a picture on Instagram, it went ballistic, and there's this call of women who want you to do their hair.
Yeah.
One post. And that one post changed the direction of your year off.
Everything. Yeah. I think if I waited and jumped on after, we probably wouldn't be sitting here today.
Really? That was a defining moment for you.
I think so. Yeah. I don't charge Jackie for her hair because I feel like, it was her who pushed me to go on Instagram, and that's how we got here. So I actually to this day don't charge her to do her hair.
Oh, maybe we need to alter that now.
Okay.
Don't tell her I told you that.
Okay.
So you build a salon at the house while you're on maternity leave, and all these women are starting to come to you because of this one picture.
Yeah.
And it went from there.
Yeah, I still have that picture.
Do you? Have you?
Yeah.
Is it on your Instagram still?
Probably like way down there. Yeah.
Way down there. We'll have to go have a look at that later. I have to scroll right to the bottom and like it.
Yes.
So, did you immediately see the potential of Instagram from that moment? I mean, that's pretty like, whoa, to me.
Yeah. I did. And you know what? When I went into hair school, I really wanted to go in with the main focus of like, why can't course level 2 to 5 hair lift? Because as a teenager, I would go to the salons and they could never ever get me platinum. And I
Right.
would always wonder why. So my main focus going into hair school was to figure that out so that I could create a niche for other clientele like myself. And when we got her to that, I think the photo was like only a level 9, but you know, other girls in the city with the same type of hair saw that, and you know, they wanted to come see me because they didn't see anything. Any other hairdressers couldn't get them that light.
Yes, that's really, so you'd really gone into it because of your frustrations with your own hair
Yes. Yeah.
and what you couldn't achieve, yet you could achieve it on all your friends, and you were frustrated by that. And you
Yes.
went into beauty school with a real clear goal, it sounds like to me.
Oh yeah. 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 I
And
really wanted to nail those color corrections.
yeah, you did a big one the other day. I was like, whoa, that's a job.
Oh my
I saw
God.
that.
You should see all
Um,
the my
have you built your clientele on dark bases then?
yes, I would say so. Yeah.
So you've niched it down pretty early on in your career and figured out, and that's really, again, I think that's really clever, because so many people come into the industry and they're not really clear of their goal. You know, it might be I want to be session, or I want to be really busy, or I want to own my own salon. But you'd nailed down, you'd found the perfect guest for you, which translated that crux in time, translated so well onto Instagram as well.
Yeah. And then all the level, you know, 7+, like 7, 8, 9 started coming to see me. And I was like, oh, this is awesome, because I don't have to break my back as much to get them platinum as my
Well,
2 to 5.
it's easier. It's easier,
Mhm,
isn't it? You know, you don't
mhm.
have all that red pigment to deal with at all.
Yes. Yeah.
So you won a Contessa, you've built a salon, you've hit internet gold with your post, and all these women are coming to you with these dark bases that want to be blonde. Everyone likes to be blonde, of course. What happened then?
Well, from then I started, you know, I was like, okay, well, I really want to work for a company, because now I
Right,
have all these content online, don't know what I'm doing with it. I didn't have a salon then. It was myself and a girlfriend of mine where I met at Regis. And she actually lived down the street from me from when I was rebuilding my clientele at home. And I was
right.
like, hey, do you want to come help me out a couple days a week? Like, it's hard for me to, you know, cater to my son and do hair because I had a really tight schedule. And she's like, yeah, sure. So her and I opened up just a little 3-chair boutique, and it was just us. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll have all this content online. Now I want to, you know, work for a company that, you know, that I enjoy using their color. And it was Schwarzkopf at the time. And so, you know, I started tagging them a lot online until, you know, you finally get noticed.
When was this then? Can we put this in some kind of perspective?
Time
So
frame. Okay.
time frame. So if we're looking at Instagram, what was it? 2012, 2000
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, 2012.
2013. Yeah. 13.
Okay. 2013 you hit the gram
Mm-hmm.
running, and it allowed you to be busy while your baby was at home and you were at home.
Mm-hmm.
You then get so busy from this one moment, this very clever moment, that you set up a small boutique salon with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And where are we now? 2013, 14? Or
14. Yeah. 2014. Yeah.
2014, not that long ago.
No.
And you had the foresight to start tagging the brands. Were other people do it? Had you watched other people, or was this something that was just innate to you?
I thought it was just something I wanted to do. You know, I wasn't
Yeah.
really watching, because at the time I think everyone was just hopping on Instagram and discovering, you know, what worked and what didn't work. Yeah, so it was just like almost like a trial and error kind of thing, right?
Well, I don't know whether that's right or not. I'm just enthralled by the story.
Yeah.
It's so cool that you just thought, okay, where, I mean, people still don't know how to do all that. Yet there you were in the early days, an early adapter, adapter, not sure which it is. But anyway, one of those. And there you start tagging away Schwarzkopf, which of course, blonde me 9+. I mean, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. And yeah, so crazy. And then, you meet other friends and other artists. And then, I connected with Lynn B. Scene.
Yes.
And he was like, I was like, Lynn, because I noticed he was taking Schwarzkopf at the time too. And yeah, you just build all these connections online. And I met a really good friend of mine. Her name is Iris Smith, and she lives in California. And she, she kind of introduced me to the education side of it. So she's like, hey, Josie,
Right.
we could do classes together because there's so many people in California with, like Hispanic Asian hair, and they want to learn how to lift it and tone it out.
Yeah.
So Iris and I linked up and we started doing classes together, and that's how the education side started. And every time we would go out and, do a class, I'd go into these beautiful salons, and I love like their team atmosphere. I love working with a team. And I thought,
Right.
I said to my fiance, like, I think I kind of want a salon. I love the vibe that it has. And that's where we started Hairology. So this is 2000, and I want to say, oh my God, like 15 now.
2015. And
16.
where were you as far as Instagram followers at that time? Obviously it was a different time period, but what were your numbers like by then? What had you grown it to?
I don't know, maybe 100. I don't know, maybe less than 100. I can't remember.
And did that feel like this sort of stupendous, like huge amount of people that were following you at that time? Did it feel strange?
Oh yeah, it was, it felt like a lot of people. And, in the beginning, you kind of you're just posting so much to just post and get, get more followers, because the algorithm was a lot different back then than it is now. And, you're constantly posting, making content, gaining followers, and then people want to know more about you. So you're sharing your life, and my input on it's a little bit different now, but.
But for you, you'd done what I think a lot of people want to do from Instagram. You'd wanted to build clients with it. You wanted your clientele base, first of all, wasn't it? That's what you wanted from it. And you did that really successfully.
Exactly, yeah.
And then suddenly the pivot by Schwarzkopf saying, oh my God, we need you in California. I mean, if you think about it, the bases in North America of a level 5 and below, that's the average is a 5, I think. It's in England it's a 6. But so there's a lot of dark hair out there, and people want to be blonde, and suddenly there's this young woman who's producing all these results, and they're like, right, come on out, let's do some classes. How was it for you to pivot from working behind a chair very successly to going into a classroom? Because it's different, isn't it?
Oh, it's so different. Yes.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like an introvert extrovert, where like I still have trouble with stage presence because I have trouble speaking to a big group of people, and especially English isn't my first language. So when I say things or when I speak, I stumble on my words, or I'm trying to find the right words to say. So I feel a little insecure there. So I think that's where my stage fright comes in. But then that's where I started talking in my videos, my hair videos, was because I wanted to start practicing the language and, making sure I'm educating properly. And so that's how the voiceover started with my videos. But it was, it's scary. You have all these eyes. You know how it is in a room with hairdressers. They're just staring at you like, what can you teach me that I already don't know? That's what it feels like, but it's not, because
it's not like that. I think that's our insecurities are going. But I think what's really interesting about people like you who are trailblazers on Instagram is that you brought the commerciality back to the hairdresser, and all of us work behind a chair. We're looking at some of the session stuff and saying, that's just not what Mrs. Smith wants, or Miss Smith, or whatever her name is. She doesn't want that. She wants to look like this. She wants to look like a Zara girl, or she wants to look like a pop star, but she doesn't want to look, with the asymmetric bob that you did on your first test piece. The clients don't really want that, do they? And suddenly the Instagram hairdresser who was poo-pooed, I think, a lot by the sort of the artists in the industry, suddenly everybody wanted to know what the secret of their success was, because everyone wanted to be busy behind the chair.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, it was hard to be busy behind the chair back then because all you really had was word of mouth. So it was
Yes.
a lot harder, right? But now there's so many different tunnels that you can take.
Yeah. And so now, so you're with Schwarzkopf and you're doing in-person seminars, and they're going, what was yours? They're going really well, but what was your learning curve on that? What did you find the most difficult, besides the stage fright and the sort of, maybe, I don't see a language barrier, but you say that you struggle sometimes, but you seem so confident to me, and so eloquent as well. What do you think your learning curve was, as far as doing what you do behind the chair and taking it into a classroom and showing hairdressers what you do behind the chair?
Oh, I think the hardest part, especially because of my niche and what I was specializing in, it wasn't like something where the audience could see the result in 3 hours.
Right.
So for me, I was struggling with, okay, so now I have to fly in a day or two early, find the right model, prep half of her head, because when we want to do the toning part live, but we want to do the correcting part live as well, but we don't have 6 to 9 hours. So
No.
it was hard on the body, because you're just constantly, well, you know how it is, you're constantly working.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm not at the
main...
moment. I haven't worked in ages, but with COVID. But yeah, when you do work, you know how hard it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the struggle was, trying to figure out how to show the end result in one day with the technique.
How did you get around that? Because I know that if with Schwarzkopf, if I'm doing a dark to blonde transformation with 9+, it's going to be back-to-back foils. There's going to be a lot of them in there for me, like a lot, because as soon as you take a thick section, that's the section that doesn't lift. So it takes hours to get them in. And as you get the front in, you've got to stop taking the back out, then you've got to go in at the roots. I mean, it's a big job. And, there are two things in it. One, how do you kind of get round that on stage, or how did you get round it? And of course, then how do you also get round the piece where the hairdressers expect to do it in a 45-minute appointment? Because it's a full day's job.
Yes. Yeah. You kind of have to train your clients, and then I started using my platform to train the clients. So I would make videos like, hey, if you want this type of hair, it's not going to be a 45-minute slot. It could be like a 6-hour slot. So then clients started understanding, okay, well, I better book my whole day off work if I want to go blonde, right?
Yeah, because the touch-up won't be so difficult, but the first time, it's going to take a long time to do it beautifully.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And how did you have that conversation with hairdressers? Because the hairdresser's like, no, but my client doesn't want to spend 6 hours, but your client wants to be blonde.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want to spend 6 hours, and she doesn't want to spend all this money. And it's like, well, then what are you going to do? How do you communicate that with the industry?
Well, I always say you have to be very honest with your clients. And if this is the type of clientele you want, or the niche that you want to do, you need to be very transparent with your clients and start educating them right from the consultation. And sometimes like we in our salon, we have a stylist, and she doesn't do as long as appointments as some of us, because she's new. So she's coming in for, she still does her root touch-ups in between her haircuts, in between, so how it goes like that. But she's like, wow, you guys do it so different, because we can't really book a client in between that transformation, because you always have to constantly be watching it. So that's where pricing is very important, because you want to make sure you're pricing for your time if you're just with that one client all day long, rather than doing 5 clients, in a day.
So I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree with you more. But I think the messaging when you're on the road, or even if you're online, is like, how do you have that conversation? I mean, I always say it's going to be in a consult. You've got to charge your worth. You go through 3 tubs of Blonde Me 9+. Do you know what I mean? You could go through all that products.
Oh yeah, easily. XXL.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, the Americans have got the big tubs, haven't they? Yeah. North America's got the big tubs. I've just got a little one. But yeah, you can go through so much product, and the hairdressers don't always understand that they've got to charge for all of that.
Yeah. And I always say, it's like going to get your car serviced. Say you got a broken tire or you need a new engine. Well, the mechanic is going to charge you for your time and and the products. They're not going to throw in a free tire. So why are you going to throw in a free tub of Blonde Me? That costs money, right?
It costs money, yeah.
I try to explain it like that. Like, it's time, parts, and labor.
And I think more and more hairdressers are getting that now. And there are more of us actually saying that if you're going to do this kind of work, you can't book somebody in between it. You just literally can't. I mean, when we're on a shoot and the new Blonde Me Blondes of the World campaign, I mean, there's some of those women you couldn't leave, or there were 6 of you working on it all because it was just such big jobs.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant story on that. And so Schwarzkopf then got you to go from an educator to part of their North American artistic team.
Yes. Yeah. So the educating part, when I was educating, I wasn't really with Schwarzkopf yet. So I was just kind of independently doing my own thing.
And using their products and love their products. Yeah.
So I think about 2018, 17, 18 or 17, I think, then I got asked to be a part of the North American artistic team, which was really cool,
Yeah, really cool. Really cool. So you're doing all of that, which is pretty amazing anyway, really. And yet you decided that you also wanted to open a salon. Yeah,
I did. I wanted to be around a team and I wanted to help others grow, in their career. And so we decided to open up a salon. And then we found a bigger location. So now we have the 2 salons, but I shut one down and I just kind of use that as my training facility, office, where I do my Zoom videos, etc. now. So we've just compressed into one. Yeah.
And it's one. It's beautiful though. Some of the stuff that you post on it, it's really lovely. And you're known you're not just known in your area, you're just known. Do people fly in for you now?
Some people do. They do try to fly in. I mean, now with restrictions and COVID, it makes it hard. But they do tend to try to fly in to come see me. But
that's amazing, isn't it? Hey, from one picture, something grows.
I know, right? One picture. Jeez, one picture. That's so funny.
How is it being a mom? So, I mean, I've told you this before when we've chatted on Instagram. I struggle to look after the cat, and the dog. Yet you've got a cat, but you found your cat. You've got a cat, a husband, 2 kids, and a really successful business, plus a very successful Instagram account, because they're both businesses, I believe. And also you've added online education. I think not a lot of us have gone online anyway, because it's so difficult with travel restrictions. How do you manage that? All of that?
Good time management. I don't know, like my fiance does a great job with our kids if I need to jet off somewhere or take the time to do something. But I'm starting to delegate roles. I just hired a social media management team just to do the back end of things, because it was getting too much for me to do. And then now I think I've decided, I want to take my full year off for maternity so I can focus more on the business. So it's just really, time management and where I want to put the time in. So I don't think I want to do as much work behind the chair moving forward. I'm slowly transitioning, slowly telling my clients, so that they don't go crazy. And eventually I just want to manage and teach.
Right. So you've still got these goals. You're goal driven. You're very driven from our conversation, it sounds like to me. So you're going to make that transition into sort of pulling out of the business a little bit, but still being in there. But you've got these other massive facets of the business anyway. I mean, Instagram and webinars can consume your day, as we know. And you've got somebody helping you on the back end of the stuff. So, you know, I've got somebody helping me do that now, because it's just, there's so much to do.
Oh yes.
It's more, I try and answer all my messages. I try and respond to as many comments as I can. But yours must be double the workload, because you've got way more followers than me. I mean, do you try to answer everyone, or as many as you can? Do you set a time for it, or do you just sort of go as it is? I mean, you've got a baby in one hand, a little one running around, you know.
Yeah, I do. I try to make my posts either in the morning or in the evening, because that's when people are on their phones the most. And then I'll spend only like maybe 5 minutes after a post responding to comments, and then, you know, just take a little mental breather and then go back to it when I do have time. So I try not to make it like a chore or something that I have to do, but more as, you know, oh, I have a little downtime right now. And you know, I want to make it more enjoyable, because it can be draining sometimes, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't want to hate it, so I just do it, you know, when I do have the time, and I don't put too much pressure into it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, Instagram is a great business tool in many ways, because it can lead to all sorts of different opportunities. But you don't want it to be a chore, because I don't want going into the salon to be a chore either. Exactly. I want to go into the salon and enjoy it, because for that person that drains you, I don't really want to do them again. You know, I don't want to work with an energy vampire. I want someone that's happy in their life, that wants pretty hair.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's the same with the gram. You know, you put something up, and, you know, I mean, I want to respond to people and thank them and all of that. But I want to use mine as an education tool. I want to talk about the thing I love, and I've sort of niched down. Got my little niche going. You've got your niche going. But then you've got 13 staff.
Yes.
13 more people to look after. 13 more families to be responsible for besides your own.
Yeah. I'm very thankful for my team. They're so understanding, and they just know when I'm busy and to kind of leave me alone, or, you know, yeah, but I've got a great team. And right from the beginning, like when I do my hiring, I like to ask, like, you know what, you know, you're in the beginning of your career. You should try everything. You should dip into everything. But like, what ultimately makes you happy? Like, what do you want to do? And then I try to come up with a plan with them to kind of build a niche, so that, you know, let's say Alex, she enjoys cutting textured hair. She doesn't really care about color corrections, you know, or big jobs like that. She enjoys cutting. So, you know, we decided to kind of build her cutting niche, and she can be the cutter in the salon. I hate cutting. So
oh, me too. I hate it.
Yeah. And styling, because, you know, we spend so much time coloring that after we're kind of just like, you know,
just make it pretty for me. That's what I would say. And then everyone's like, oh God, what does he want?
Yeah. And then we still come in after. Right?
Well, I kind of like that bit there. Yeah. So you've taken your team members, and you've also encouraged your team members to niche. I mean, this is a big piece of your conversation, isn't it? Really, you found yours. You went in with an idea into the business, and you found it as you were going along with your first maternity leave. But now you're encouraging your team members to take that on as well.
Yeah, and so far they've been enjoying it. So, and it's worked out for some. There's Abby Brooke. She's grown a lot on Instagram. She does extensions in her salon and color, and she's just blown up, and she's amazing. And then, you know, and I always say, like, social media isn't always the way. If you're kind of more reserved and shy, like, you don't have to be a big superstar on social media. As the main thing is that you're getting clients into your chair. You know?
Yes.
So, you know, even if you're, you know, you're a cutter, but you don't want a big following, but yeah, you still need a paycheck at the end of the day if you want to continue to do what you love.
I agree with you. I think people would say, look at you and be like, okay, look at Josie. She's got, you know, all these followers. I'm never going to get that. There's no point doing it. But you started off with one picture. But the thing is, we all start off with one picture, and we all have pictures that bomb, and we all do things where it's maybe not right, doesn't work. But it's the same as when you do your first haircut. It's not the greatest haircut, but it's your first. And you celebrate that. And then as you work through, you discover more and more about it. And so I always say to people, don't worry about the numbers. What you want from it is you want to speak to clients, because that's what you want to do. You want to keep your business going.
Yeah, and I say, it's more like your portfolio and your storefront, right? You want to use it for reference so that your clients have, because all the clients now are going on Instagram, it's kind of sad, but if they go on our Instagram and they go to a stylist in the salon and, they look at their pictures and they're like, oh, I don't really like it, or they don't think they're a great stylist because the number of following they have is small. I want to start educating clients on that too, because I don't think that's fair. Just because a stylist has a small following doesn't mean that they're not a great stylist. They just they can't maybe like, what's that word I'm looking for? What's that word I'm looking for, Jack?
Okay, so they can't, they haven't been able to transition onto Instagram, or they haven't been able to get the right shots and put their work up there. They haven't invested in it. But from the way in which you think, and I think the way I think too, that hairdressers should be invested in the gram, because that's the way that you sell yourself these days. What people see before they come in the salon.
Yeah. It's their online portfolio. It's their online dating portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's amazing that people say, oh, would you do my hair? And you get all these messages through from there. I mean, it's like, why not? It's free.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great tool to use, I think.
Yeah. So out of your 13 staff, you're encouraging them to niche. And do you look for that quality in them when they come to interview with you? Are you looking for people that want to specialize, or are you happy with the right person who does anything? Or have you gone into being,
It's more, when during an interview, I'm looking for, are they a team player? Do they have the right energy? Because sometimes, they can come in sluggish. So you want, you're looking for that certain energy for your salon. And then, are they willing to learn and grow? And then from there, then, do you have something particular that you do like? And that's when you see their face light up and they get excited talking about, I love doing blowouts, or, whatever. And then you're like, okay, cool. Well, you're not going to make a ton of money just doing blowouts. But if you can do, a color and some blowout, then you kind of work from there. But yeah.
I love that, because it's so true. You're not going to make a lot of money doing a blowout, are you? Really?
You're going to work a lot. That's a lot of shoulder work.
A lot of shoulder work. Exactly.
Unless you're amazing, blowout specialist, because there are some out there that probably do charge a lot, right?
Right. But again, really, I think it's a North American thing, Canadian, USA, in the sense that there's this real honesty about talking about money, and there's not a shame in it. Whereas sometimes in the UK, people are frightened to charge, don't want to talk about pricing. And I'm kind of like this huge advocate of like, don't get a discount on your mortgage, don't get a discount at the Safeway or the Sainsbury's, or, don't get a discount at the drugstore unless you've got a points card. It's like, know your worth, charge it, don't be unreasonable in it. But if you can command those prices, then command them. But it seems very hard for a lot of people to actually to say, this is how much I'm worth.
I think it's the confidence level too, right? Like when you have a team with you who is like, no, you're so worth it. You can charge that, having people to back you up and make you feel great about it. Then, when you do that great color, you feel great when you charge it. And, COVID has been such like a good example of, I'm like, okay, so you're discounting your friends, you're discounting your family, you're discounting your neighbor, you're discounting everybody. But what happens when, example, COVID happens and there's a pandemic and we shut down? Now, are those people going to give you that money that you discounted them? Now that you need that money, you kind of see, okay, maybe I shouldn't have discounted all those people, because that's my time and worth.
Yeah. I I hadn't heard of a discount really until I came back to England, where it seemed that in London everybody had some kind of deal going. And I'm like, but why? Why? Because the salon I worked at in the States, there were no discounts. You know, the price was what you were told, kind of thing. And COVID has, in some ways, done that, because what I realized was I was doing the models and stuff that I was doing, I was able to take them to the studio and do them in the studio, which meant that I got content uninterrupted by trying to run after Mrs. Jones, who decided to go to the bathroom, you know, with a pre-lightener on. And I'm like thinking it's going to break off. And so I was able to focus on the clients in the salon, full price. And then in the studio, I was able to do my models for my content days. And they both have value, but they're different values. And I can earn max money in the salon, no discounts, fully booked. And then in the studio, I can do, you know, 1 or 2 a day and film them from start to finish, including the finished look. And it's made life much, much easier for me. But at the same time, if I allowed all those models to come in as we open up, then I would close myself off to the full paying clients.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no win in that, is there? So I think discounts are a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm. And like, I think that's a way to like keeping our industry professional again, is, you know, stop cutting all the discounts. Because I think that our clients, you know, well, Sue got a discount from her client over there. So I don't know why in our industry there's this double standard where our clients think that they can get a refund or they can get discounts or they can bully us. I don't, you know, and I just want to gain that professionalism back. Like, you know, hair is an art. It's just not some fun thing that you see on Instagram. It's like a professional job, you know, and
It's a science.
Yeah.
Especially some of the stuff that you do. I mean,
Oh
that's
God,
really
yeah.
technical.
Oh yeah, like the other day, I'm like, you know, our model had this band, but then her top was her zone 1 was so platinum, and then her ends are like so porous. You know, you got to formulate like 3 different formulas, or you know, like I try to just think easy and formulate one formula all in one. But you know, you have to add your gold back, you have to add some blue to neutralize that orange, but then you got to throw in, you know, it is like it's science.
Yeah, and all the ones that want to be platinum, but they want to be shiny platinum, you know, or they want to be shiny grey. You've got to have a bit of gold underneath that. You've got to dual tone it. It's product coming out of the fans. How do you, Josie, how do you break down your price? How do you work your pricing out?
So in the salon, we do charge for our product. We use this app called Salon Scale, and you put it in a bowl, the scale Bluetooths to your phone, and the gram goes into $1 or a cent or $1 amount. So we charge separately.
Hold on a minute. I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah. So there's a lady in, I forgot where she's from. I think Calgary or Regina. I forgot where she's from. But she invented this thing called Salon Scale. So it's a bowl. There's a scale. You put the bowl on the scale, and it has all the color lines already on it for you.
That
so you don't have
you
to
carry, or that it's already on. You put those on, or it's already there.
It's already there. It's amazing. Yeah. So then let's say I'm using a Agora Vibrance 8-11, put it into the bowl. For 10 grams is $1.81. So I kind of already know this off the top of my head.
Right.
So then, you know, then you can decide if you want to, you know, charge your client double that, because, you know, maybe the extra $1.81 will cover some foils or whatever. So in our salon, we do product and then we do labor. So for me, let's say I'm doing a color correction, I have a base fee of how much time I know I'm going to take on it, which let's say I know I'm going to take 4 hours on it. My base fee will be $400. And then anything after that is $100 an after. So technically I'm charging $100 an hour. It's just nicer than me saying it's $100 an hour service. And then plus the product and of course taxes.
So clever.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought there was an app on a scale? I am fascinated by that. That's brilliant.
And you know, at first it was really hard. Some of the some of the stylists weren't team players and they didn't want to do it because they thought that by using salon scale, obviously the cost ends up being a lot more for the client. So they thought, they were going to lose clients because, now you're going from only a $350 service to now charging an extra $70 for product. So they thought, the clients wouldn't like that. A lot of them weren't on board. So we had to do a lot of we had to get rid of some people who didn't want to do that. But essentially it was the best for the salon because we're a color salon and we're going through so much product, and to not charge for it, it's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but those stylists that are worried about the client's money, the client isn't worried about your money. So it's like, why are you worried about theirs? If they can't afford to pay it, they won't pay it. They'll say no, but it's like, that's the thing that holds hairdressers back, isn't it?
And it's so funny because not a single client said anything about the price increase. It was more the stylist, and you're so right. Like, they're not worried about you. Why are you worried about their money? Right. And I think that's one of the things you learn in hair school is like, you don't judge people. You don't judge them by how much money you think they will or will not spend, because you don't know how much, right?
And that's why the consultation is important, right? Because for me, when a new client comes in, so you've got to have a look at the hair. You've got to decide what you're going to do. I break everything down. I talk to them about the hopes and dreams, all of that, and that is where I tell them the price. And then it's like, oh, it's yes or no, and it's like, this is what I believe you need. And then if they are price sensitive to my prices, I'm quite happy to refer them to somebody else in the salon and say, this person's at a different level. You still get a really lovely job. It won't be me, but we've done this consult. I'll talk to them for you, introduce you, but I'm not going to do it at that other person's price level. I'm going to fill that space with somebody that wants to pay my price level.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Takes a little bit of confidence, and as we might say here, you've got to have some balls to stand up for yourself and do that. But once you've done it, it's easy.
Oh, it feels great. You're like, yes, yeah, I can get used to this.
Yeah, totally. Brilliant. I mean, if I can come away from a podcast with inspired, I'm sorry, that scale thing has just inspired me. I just think that's fantastic. I'm going to text me that later.
I will.
Yeah, so send me a link. So Josie, obviously COVID's impacted all of us. I mean, you and I have chatted in between you looking after the baby, and I might be in bed and you just got up, and because of our time difference, not in the same house, separate houses, guys. But COVID's impacted us and changed, and both of us have pivoted to going online education. I don't know about you, but so doing an Instagram live, I've done so many now. I know the angle, the lighting. I still do my prep, obviously, beforehand, but I know how to face that phone in portrait mode. And then suddenly I was thrown into landscape, and I'm like, oh my God.
No.
How do I do this? Yeah, it's like, what's going on here? How did you pivot? Did you find it easy? It took me quite a few rehearsals, and I've done 2 webinars now, and I'm really happy with how they look. But it was like, there was a lot of no's going on in my head. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it's still trying to for me, it's more that I was trying to figure out the whole mic thing.
Yes.
Because that's so hard, right? Because you're like, oh, it's lagging, it's echoing. You're like, how do I make it stop? So for me, I'm still trying to figure that out. I did my first Zoom live. Usually I have someone recording for me, but I was like, oh, you know what? I think I got this. I'm going to do it. I figure it out. But yeah, I think it's the mic, I think, that I have to figure out. There's always an obstacle.
So my AirPods have been great. And I've got a 4K camera that plugs into my laptop, which has got good sound in it too. So that helped too, because I was worried about that.
Okay.
The thing that bothers me that I'm still trying to work out is, how do you answer questions?
Oh, okay.
If you can't hit, if you've got 80 people in a room, I can't have 80 people talking in a
Yeah.
webinar. So
Yeah.
it was like I've got somebody helping me sort of in
Yes.
another house doing that. What are you doing for that?
Yes, yeah, exactly. I've got my stylist Tanya, who's been with me since day one. So she's on answering questions because she knows how my brain works, and
Yeah.
if she doesn't, then she'll ask. But yeah, it's amazing. It's at first you're trying to figure everything out. You're trying to be a one-man show with like eight octopus hands doing everything. But yeah, later on you find out like, no, you need help.
I think initially when you start these things, like you started out with Instagram, we all start out on our own, just doing it, figuring it out. But as it grows and it becomes a business within a business, then absolutely you need to reach out and ask for help, because there's no way you can do it all on your own.
No, you need to focus what you're great at, right, Jack? And
Yeah,
the other people can do the other things.
exactly. Like Thomas records and edits and all of this. Thomas is the fabulous man that produces these podcasts. I couldn't do any of that, so Thomas
No,
does. I know what my limitations are.
exactly. Yeah. So now you can just focus on being the great Jack Howard that you are, and
Oh God,
Thomas can focus on being
the great Thomas.
Yes, that he is.
So, Josie, it's been just brilliant chatting with you this afternoon. Thank you so much. What's your goal for the next year or so? If you can tell me, can you share it?
Okay, so my next goal for the year is to do more online education. The first time I had a baby, I missed a lot of milestones with Rory, being gone, traveling, building my business. And Ruby, and COVID has made me realize I need to just kind of slow down a bit. The traveling can wait. I'm going to transition into online webinars and just, really enjoy this time that I have, because, she's not going to be little forever.
No.
And that's just my goal this year, is to just not put so much pressure on myself and enjoy all the little moments, all the little opportunities that are given to you, and just really soak them in and enjoy them, and not try to always reach for the next thing, because it'll come.
That's a great goal. It will come. And I think COVID has taught us all to try and slow down a little bit and appreciate the things in life. But who would have thought you and I would have learned how to light a room, work a camera on our own, nobody helping us, who'd have thought? Look at us, eh?
I think we look great doing it.
But the lesson for this really, is that for me is one, that you are driven, you're goal and competitive, but that you always seem to have a mini plan in there, even when you started out going to hairdressing school because you wanted to earn your own money, but then also going in there and figuring out why your hair you can get the results on your hair, and that turning that into a business. That's an amazing niche. It's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jack. I never you don't see it in that way because you're busy being part of the journey. So when you get to reflect back and hear someone else say it, you're like, yeah, I always do have a little mini.
Talk about insightful about your own hair and your own life. Just fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today, taking the time out. And the baby hasn't woken up, which is amazing.
You know what? I'm pretty sure that is like her, not the cat, but she's not crying, so she's good.
Cool. You go look after the baby, and I'd just like to thank you so much for bringing a great podcast on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jack and Thomas. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye.